Hello and welcome to TradeFlow Television,
bringing you valuable analysis and actionable intelligence
for the global commodity markets.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
JP Morgan has earned record revenue of around $1 billion so far this year from trading, storing and financing precious metals, vastly outperforming rival banks, two sources familiar with the matter told Reuters. The coronavirus has created a bonanza for investment banks dealing in gold, silver and other precious metals by triggering massive investor purchases and rupturing the normal workings of the market. But JP Morgan has dominated, growing its share of the market.
Oil prices rose on Monday, extending last week's gains as traders anticipated coronavirus vaccine trials would spur a recovery in demand. Sentiment was also bolstered by expectations that the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, Russia and other producers, a group known as OPEC+, would extend a deal to restrain output. Brent crude LCOC1 rose 58 cents to $45.54 a barrel by 14:35 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude CLC1 gained 35 cents to $42.77 a barrel. Both benchmarks jumped 5% last week.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Brent crude futures spreads continued to narrow on Monday on strong oil demand from Asia and with markets cautiously optimistic about a COVID-19 vaccine rollout and an extension of output cuts by OPEC and its allies. The Brent front-month LCOC1 LCOC2 contango, whereby contracts for later delivery are more expensive than contracts for earlier delivery, stood at -9 cents a barrel, the shallowest since early June.
In remote northern Michigan, a propane shortage in early 2014 caused prices to nearly double, squeezing about half of the families there who rely on the fossil fuel to heat their homes. Now the future of the Enbridge Inc.-owned line supplying the region is under threat, as climate activists widen their campaign to cut U.S. fossil fuel dependency from new pipelines to the refurbishment or expansion of older ones.
Moving on to metal price moves.
Trafigura on Monday agreed a 5-year cobalt supply deal with Congo's state buyer, under which the commodities trader will finance the creation of controlled artisanal mining zones, buying centers and logistics to trace supply. The Democratic Republic of Congo houses around 70% of the world's reserves of cobalt, crucial for the lithium-ion batteries used in the fast-growing electric vehicle sector.
Copper scrap suppliers are hesitating to ship material that meets new standards to China because of confusion over requirements and whether U.S. cargoes are subject to trade war tariffs, representatives of the industry said on Monday. Top metals consumer China last month said it would allow high-grade copper, aluminium and brass scrap that meets its new standards to enter without restrictions from November 1st.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Soft wheat exports from the European Union and Britain in the 2020-21 season that started in July had reached 9.19 million tons by November 22, 20% below the volume cleared by the same week last season, official EU data showed on Monday. A smaller harvest this year has reduced the surplus in the EU and Britain, although strong demand from importers including China and less competitive than usual Russian prices have maintained European exports.
America's biggest biofuel companies plan to ask President-elect Joe Biden to impose a nationwide standard to reduce carbon emissions from transport fuels, according to 5 sources familiar with the matter, and hope to preserve a role for products like ethanol amid the fight against climate change. The planned push from the biofuel industry reflects its increasing concern about the future as Biden prepares measures to slash emissions that could upend traditional energy markets, and as the federal regulation that has underpinned growth in the biofuel market for more than a decade, the Renewable Fuel Standard, nears expiry in its current form.
That is all for today's news on the commodity market. Stay tuned to TradeFlow TV as we continue to provide you with more updates. You can also follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow TV1, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop.